It is January 27th, 2023. And I guess real quick before I get started, as a quick aside, I want to wish everybody tomorrow a happy feast day of St. Thomas Aquinas. For those that aren't aware, not only is that my patron saint, I'm actually named after him, so it's an exciting day. But of course, that's not what the purpose is of why I'm talking to you all today. I wanted to, I guess, display two contrasting visions for how to spend Michigan's taxpayer dollars in Lansing. Uh, Earlier this week, we had Senate Bill 7, which was the first supplemental bill of the term. It passed both the House and the Senate, and now it's on the way to the governor's desk. Before it went to conference, I was able to offer a substitute, and it was very different than the spending priorities of what the Democrats want to do. So what was in the proposal that I laid out? So there was about $1.8 billion of ongoing tax relief for Michigan families. It included lowering the income tax down to 4.1%, increasing the personal exemptions for everybody to $10,000 for a single filer or $20,000 for a joint filer. It lowered the retirement age for seniors down to 65, and it also doubled the amount of retirement income that seniors can file for an exemption from 20,000 to 40,000 for a single filer, and then up to 80,000 for joint filers. So very robust and fairly applied tax plan for tax relief that would have helped all Michigan families. What else was in there? Well, there was $500 million to go into the rainy day fund, and then there was $2.75 billion for other debt relief priorities throughout the state, paying down state debt, paying down pension debt at the local level, and actually paying down road debt so we can free up money for road maintenance. So that's the vision that I laid out. I know there are many, many Republicans that are aligned with that type of strategy. And what did the Democrats provide, though? Well, Senate Bill 7 was originally positioned as a book closing supplemental that was $148 million. By the time it came out of conference committee, it had ballooned to something that was 7.5 times that size, to about $1.1 billion. The largest item in there was $200 million for a Swiss company that is in the Upper Peninsula, a type of paper mill. And, they basically gave them this money, hoping that they would keep the employees there. So I actually never saw what the terms of the deal were. So I hope they were good because we spent $200 million on it. Outside of that, there was about $325 million for, I guess, what I would classify as different pork projects. Those would be for the SOAR Fund, community revitalization grants, and small business and accelerator grants. So, some might wonder, like, well, why would those be pork? Well, if you think about it, when the legislature wants to spend pork, they actually itemize what the spending is on, because it's the administration that actually has to pay the bills and spend it. And if they're not very specific, they're afraid the administration is going to take the money that they wanted for something and spend it on something else. So they put a pretty narrow scope on what that pork is going to be. But for these three items, since the administration is the one that actually handles the checkbook, there is oversight to some degree. So, in all fairness, especially in regard to the SOAR Fund, but still they have a wide degree of latitude of what's going to be on the table. And they're the ones who get to go. The administration is the one who gets to go throughout the state, pick who the funding is going to go to, if it's a certain business or what have you, and they get to celebrate it. So if that's not pork, then I guess I don't know what is. A couple of other different, I guess, buckets, if you will. There's one bucket I would describe as kind of liberal government programs. This could be for housing. I saw something that was even, looks like it's to pay people's water utilities in event of a shutoff. Things that grow government dependence instead of helping lift people to independence, which I think is what we should all be aiming for. And then the last bucket would be what I would describe as legitimate book closing items. We have a large budget, many, many different line items. A lot of times even in our own finances, we should see this. Sometimes you got to settle things at the end of the year. You know, some of your estimates and what costs would be might have been a little off, so you just kind of got to rebalance the books. This is especially true when it comes to federal funding. Sometimes we give estimates to the feds, and you just got to balance it at the end. So all that stuff was, I think, pretty normal, you know, for the book closing. So that's it. That's Senate Bill 7. You know, I laid out my tax plan. It is worth noting that, you know, the Democrats did pass their tax plan as well, which was a lot that I talked about in a video at least 2 weeks ago. So if you want to know my thoughts on that, you know, feel free to go back and watch that video as well. But I could see a very diverging strategy and vision for how to spend Michigan taxpayers' dollars in Lansing this week. I just wanted to share it with you all. You know, my vision, my goal would be to hope for the best, plan for the worst. You know, in some ways, I kind of see a foreshadowing of we might end up the same way that lottery winners end up. They would get a lot of money all at once, and then they just kind of blow it and end up broke within a couple of years. We have like $9 billion on the balance sheet right now of our state finances. I hope we use it to invest wisely to help promote growth in the state of Michigan. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep offering good proposals, and you know, hopefully some of them stick, and you know, hopefully to help improve to make Michigan a better place to live, work, and raise a family. So, with that, you know, I appreciate all your time and thank you, and God bless.